music as a frequency to just enhance what you're doing.
I'm looking forward to listening to the guys.
It was awe-inspiring. I said it at the time. I've never witnessed anything like that.
Hello, my name is Lucy Davis and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I am so super excited to be recording this video on the 8th of May 2024 with three of my absolute favourite human beings this lifetime. Although I don't actually believe they're humans, just so that you know, I think that they're just wearing this skin suit just to fool us for a little while. Now, these three absolute babes are going to be speaking with me next weekend at Soul School. So we wanted to get together and just have a little chat. Now, I do believe that there is going to be maybe one or two other people that are going to be speaking as well, but I wanted to get these familiar faces in front of you. So introducing first and foremost Rick Aaron, who has assisted me in writing my book. I think that's how he's become famous around the world now. He is a father, he's a businessman, he is an absolute all-round amazing human being and one of the people that I literally trust with my life, and I don't say that lightly. So welcome to Rick.
Nice to be here.
As you guys know, I did a video with her yesterday. This is Wendy Smith. Wendy has become a very, very dear friend of mine over the last few years, whilst we have all been speaking out about the truth. We have evolved much further than that. We are soul family. We are definitely from the same star family, all those many, many moons ago. And Wendy and I have become very close in working together in regards to trauma and helping consciousness shift in the way that we need to. So that is Wendy. And my absolute sidekick, Kevin Wright, over the last few years, he has become like I don't know which way, he's become like the fruit to my loop, if you like. So I go off and channel some crazy shit, and then Kevin will normalize it and bring it into normal terms so that everybody else can understand it. Kevin has helped me so much as I've traveled the world, and I am so, so, so grateful to him and his beautiful wife. Kevin is going to be holding space with me over the weekend, but most importantly, we are actually going to be hearing from the man himself on stage at Soul School whilst we talk about some of the crazy shit that we've been up to over the last few years. Hey, bud.
Good morning.
How are you guys? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm good.
Are we excited for next weekend?
Very excited.
Very excited.
So, Rick, let's start with you. This time next week, obviously, we're all going to be heading in the direction of Bristol. So what does that look like for you? What are you doing? How are you getting there? You know, what are you looking forward to the most about Soul School?
There's a few moving parts, farming the kids out various places to start with. And then Sue and me, my wife, are coming down on Friday. It's probably like a 3-4 hour drive from Manchester. And then just getting ready for the early morning setup on the Saturday, because there's going to be a lot of moving parts then as well. There's everyone, the team gathering early to get the room set up. I'm looking after the audio visual stuff, so just making sure that the sound's amazing. We've got everything set up, that the room looks good. Yeah, and I know it's just going to be an absolute powerhouse of the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So what, just so that everybody knows, as much as Rick is going to be speaking on Saturday next week, Rick also does all of the music. So I basically randomly between Soul Schools just send him over music, and I'm like, hey, this would be a great tune. Hey, this would be great for meditation. And Rick, love his little soul, just basically puts it all into an order, and then he says things like he did to me yesterday. So when am I going to be getting the meditations, Lucy? And I'm like, it's all in progress. And he literally trusts me with his life to deliver everything that he needs to make this such a magical experience. And Rick, just before we go on to Wendy, a lot of people came to the one-day event back in Birmingham. What's the difference musically? Because obviously this is where you are very involved in between the one-day event and the two-day event, because it's massive difference, right?
Yeah, I think with the 2-day events, obviously there's a lot more meditations. I mean, on the last 2-day event, we had a 2.5, 3-hour session on the Sunday morning, which obviously involves music the whole way through. And in typical Lucy style, like we might have 2 hours worth of music for a 3-hour meditation. And so you're signaling me all the way through, like, let's repeat that track, let's go back to this one. Like, we've got this kind of unspoken language while you're
Literally, I'm like, and he just gets it.
she cruises around the room doing all her stuff and working with people, and then at the same time she's like signaling me to repeat a track or go back to a track that we had before. It's just kind of like a live mix, isn't it? Like a live DJ set.
People
Um,
miss this element of it, right? Because like, and this is my favorite bit of it, if I'm honest, everyone in the room is gone. Like they are literally gone. They're in a different realm. They're in a different, cosmic area of the world. And I know, Kevin, you got to witness this last time for the first time. And, I'm literally just like doing the work. I'm so engrossed in helping somebody shift something. And then all of a sudden I'll literally and it is like there's 10 of me, Rick, isn't there? Because I'm like signaling to Rick, but then I'm doing this. And I think there's a great picture of Kevin and I from Soul School 3, whereby I'm talking to Kevin, I'm giving eye movement somewhere else, and I'm also healing somebody at the same time, and I'm getting Kevin to come in and take over. So, it is fascinating what takes place at these events, isn't there? But the music side of it, what I love is we get to really move our body. We really get to use the frequency and the vibration of music. Now, a lot of people go, oh, this music has got a low frequency or whatever. But at the end of the day, the words can be used. We all know we all know somebody that's really powerful with their words, but their actions are completely different to that. So what I basically do is I go, screw the frequency, listen to the words, or don't worry about the words and listen to the frequency, like feel the frequency. And that's what we do at Soul School. We bring it. And this is why everybody leaves that space and they're all singing certain songs, because they have had them rummaging and roaming through their cells and making them feel absolutely amazing for the 1 day, 2 days or whatever. I'm excited to bring it with you again this weekend though, Rick.
yeah, it's great. And obviously there's going to be there's a lot more time for things like journaling. So there's music and something to that, and like I think the 2 day event is just an opportunity to use, like you say, music as a frequency to just enhance what you're doing.
Yeah.
In a way that you don't necessarily you do get to do in the 1 day event, but not to the extent that you can do across
Not
the
the
weekend.
last one I didn't. My God, it was like bang, 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 wasn't it? It's a little bit hectic. So thank you, Rick. I think it's fair to say, oh, and also for any of you coming, please don't stress about knowing what song is what. We will send you the playlist. That's the beautiful thing about the 2 day events. We send you the playlist afterwards. So please don't sit there thinking, I need to know what this is, or I need to know what that is throughout the event. So Wendy, this is your third Soul School that you're going to be speaking at, but you've actually attended all 4 of them, right? As we were speaking in the video yesterday. So what are you excited about bringing to the party? Like for you, when you speak, what is the best bit for you with Soul School, and what are you bringing to the party this time around, my babe?
So prior to that, can I just interject on what Rick said about music and frequency? Because it's brought something up for me from the weekend. I stayed with a friend on the way back from work. I was teaching her something. And she's like a master trainer. She's someone you need to meet, actually, Luce. You'll love her. And she was taking me through. She said, come in the living room. I'm going to take you through some music and show you how music moves emotion when I'm working in therapy. And I was like, oh, sounds interesting. Oh, mate, I've never been through an experience like it. She was playing, she'd got them all synced together. But there was one tune made me go, I literally felt sad. Literally just couldn't stop it. My whole body went into like sadness, and there was no words in any of it. And then the next one, then it brings you out into like this other level that starts taking you out of it. And then it sort of takes you sideways. Then it makes you think. And then all of a sudden, boom, it like took you off the other way. It's like, wow. So that just proves that, music. And then she did one that had words. And the words, like you've got a particular song you play. I can't remember what it is, but when it comes on, it makes me cry because of the words. And then there's another one that takes me in the other way. And it's so powerful, isn't it? Whether it's the language or the frequency, the power of it.
And then imagine marrying it up. And this is the thing that a lot of people can't quite grasp at the moment. A lot of people talk a good story, but their actions don't, which is the vibration. The action behind it doesn't marry up, or the action doesn't marry up with their words. Now, imagine if we can bring everything into sync. Imagine the power of that pure authenticity in a level of frequency. And that's what we look to do at Soul School, just, closing off those points with frequency.
And I think that's where my enjoyment comes in. We spoke a little bit about this yesterday, didn't we? Yeah. I like to just talk from the heart on what comes in and comes out. So that, for me, is an authentic frequency. And I'm always fascinated what comes out of my mouth when I'm talking. because I don't, like we said yesterday, have subject matter, have time limit, but whatever comes through and comes out is whatever is meant for the room at that time. And I never know what I've said. I really honestly don't. I might remember a couple of sentences, but I just genuinely trust that whatever is needed in that environment. But what I'm actually really looking forward to this weekend is obviously the meditations and having some shifts and getting into the love. I love it's the reconnecting with self, isn't it? But not just self, it's the energy of everybody around you as well. So you can feel into them. It's not just an individual thing, is it? This is like it's a group, it's a consciousness, it's a let's move everything. I'm looking forward to listening to the guys.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I've never heard Kev really sort of speak for a period of time, and I'm fascinated about what he does. And I just love to know more about Rick and Rick's life, and feel Rick's vibe. So I'm actually really looking forward to listening to the guys as well.
I love that. And do you know what, Wendy? This is why, for me, this time round, it was really important. And obviously, there may well be another male speaker as well. We're just working on that at the moment. But for me, this is about the balance. This is about making sure that we are hearing from true divine masculine men. And I am so lucky that in the team that I work in, I've got 3 incredible, impeccable examples of divine masculine, and I know that I'm lucky to have that around me. So it's really important that we share that with the world. There's so many amazing women out there doing their thing. There's so many. It's the men, and this is why, I remember going out to these 2 and I was like, hey, do you fancy? And they were both a bit like, okay. Kevin was a little bit more upbeat than Rick. I had to kind of sweet talk Rick a little bit. But, I know, the feedback that we got when Rick spoke in Bournemouth at the first Soul School was so phenomenal. And I know the stuff that Kevin and I have been doing over the last probably 12 months within Conscious Conversations, Kevin's really got his flow with it now. And it's so important because we as women do need to, and I love that you acknowledge this, Wendy, we need to let the men step forwards and do their thing, because our girls for the last few years have really been taking over in the sense of, consciousness and stuff. And actually we need the men. This is about all of us stepping forwards, not just the girls.
And it allows us, we were saying as well, Luce, weren't we? So I don't know if it was on air or off air, but we were saying, Lucy and I brought up very similar. We grew up in environments where it was you become independent, resilient, stand on your own 2 feet, sort your own stuff out, build your own house, fix your own car,
Yeah.
It's
be financially independent, just support yourself,
And it's brilliant, it's lovely to have, but then it stops some men, not all men, being able to be in a balanced space with you. And I think this is what, for us to feel balanced in our feminine, we need the masculine men back, not the ego generated, but the masculine balanced, the balance.
Exactly.
So we can step back into the feminine, which allows us to then relax. And, then things do change. We've lost this balance over however long. And you can really see it in society now.
Yeah.
And this is what we need to bring it back so we can move forwards. I'm looking forward to just feeling the male energy.
I agree.
It's not my male energy.
Exactly. And allowing ourselves to feel safe in the container of the divine masculine rather than the alpha male, as I call it. The macho ones that look the part, but they talk a good story, but they don't actually truly embody the qualities of divine masculine men. They're not.
And I have my dad is that.
Yeah.
My dad is a safe space. He's a masculine man, but he's not, like you say, the ego. Just he knows how to stand as a man. Yeah. And then I've got a few friends around me that are the same. They know how to stand as men, which means when I'm with them, I feel I can relax. I can actually be a little bit more like,
really? Isn't it wonderful to be girly? And honestly, boys, I am so grateful to you for being in my life for this reason, because when I'm around you guys, I can be that, I can just surrender into it. I'm tired of being the provider.
Yes, I know.
Tired of having to hold my emotions and support it's really important that we find that beautiful balance whereby we are allowing, yes, the men to be vulnerable, yes, to be emotional, and we support them and all the rest of it, but like their role is the provider, the protector, the supporter, like the underpinning, the roots to our floatiness. Like I just need somebody to tie a rope around my ankles and let me float like a freaking balloon, you know, and just bring me back down from time to time. Like that's what I need, because that's the essence of who I am, not this hardened businesswoman, you know, trade floor kind of girl that got created out of trauma. You know, I love the fact that you've acknowledged the men, Wendy. That's just made my heart flutter a little bit. Thank you. I needed that this morning. So thank you so much.
Oh, pleasure.
Kevin, can I ask you to unmute, darling? There was just a bit of background noise, so I muted you. Now, me and you are going to be an interesting conversation for people to listen to, right? But there's a number of people that have been listening to us probably for about a year now, because you spoke at the Soul School in February 2023 with David and Scott and I. And obviously, since then, you've really been quite a consistent in conscious conversations, and you've definitely been a consistent shoulder to shoulder with me. I channel, and then you just help me figure out what the heck it is that I'm talking about. So what are you looking forward to at Soul School? Because you're going to drop some absolute massive knowledge bombs, right?
Well, yeah, it's Soul School, the Soul School 4. It's a culmination. It's the culmination of the last year and a bit's work you've been where you've been wandering around the world. It's stuff that's been uncovered, and part of it started at Soul School 2, when there was a woman who come and spoke to us at Soul School 2, and she told us something very, very important that fed on for the rest of what the rest of the year was based on. And but like I say, it's a culmination of how the world's changing. And it's a bit like what Wendy was talking about, where you were saying you wanted to be floaty and the masculine has to be masculine. And it's opening the gateway. What's the heart? So the top 3 chakras are feminine, and they're the floaty chakras, and the third eye. The bottom 3 are masculine, where you're grounded and you protect. And the gateway to all this is through the heart. And that's what Soul School's about, is opening up the heart so people can be balanced and move through everything through the frequency.
So I love what you've just said there, Kevin. It's so appropriate considering, and I've got goosebumps all over me because I got that massive heart upgrade when I did that last bit of work out in the outback, which flooded. I mean, they don't get any rain in the outback, but hey, I go somewhere and it floods. You know, I got that massive chakra upgrade the other day. My question to you though, Kev, from that is obviously you last time round in Soul School 3, as much as Soul School 2, you spoke on stage, you were actually a participant, weren't you? So for Soul School 3, you actually got to witness the magic. And I remember a message that you sent to me off the back of that weekend. And, you know, with your permission, I'll share a little bit of that, not word for word, but like words to that kind of effect. And I would really, really love to hear how going through it as a participant and then actually experiencing it as somebody helping me with holding space and healing and shifting and doing the energy side of things, because Kevin actually sent a message to me off the back of Soul School 3, and it makes me get very emotional when I think about this. He said, Lucy, if God forbid all of this was done tomorrow, what I have witnessed this weekend, I know that I've done my bit here on this planet. Like what I witnessed was pure magic, because Kevin got to see what Rick saw. You know, Kevin was walking the room with me. I was calling him in to take over from me when I had done healing or when I had done shifting. And it was the first time you'd ever got to witness that side of it, Kev. So how was that for you? I mean, you made me cry with that message. As you know, we spoke about it afterwards, you know. And by the way, just so you know, Kevin never used to be articulate like that with his words. Soul School 2 opened his heart so much that he has shifted to the point. Emma constantly says to me, my husband has changed so much and it's so beautiful. He's so articulate. He's so this, he's so that, because he, you know, I've seen the shift. We've all seen the shifts in Kev, but what was it like to witness it for yourself, Kev?
It was, well, at Soul School 2, when I was a participant, I was totally embodied in like the full meditation process and that. But when we got to Soul School 3, it was where the energy is brought up. It was the atmosphere. It was sitting there watching 200, 300 people shift all at once. And you could physically see, you could see and you could feel the energy. It was people on an individual level, but then as a collective, it was just a changing in the full atmosphere and the way everyone moved. And it was awe-inspiring. I said it at the time, I've never witnessed anything like that. It was to see so many people become raw and connect with like their inner child all at once. I've never seen, until that day, I'd never seen anything like that. And I know that day, a few hundred people left that room, different people. And you've seen it in the group chat, the Soul School group chat, the way people are communicating with each other. It's a ripple effect. So them 300 people who left that room that day have gone and spoke to other people, and that's the ripple effect. And that's the ripple effect that changes the world. And it was like throwing a stone into a pond that day. And it was watching it change and the ripples just spreading around the world. It was a magical day.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I love that. I love the image that I've got in my head, like a little stone gets dropped, and it is just the ripple effect. And what excites me is for what's going to happen for the future. As much as I'm very much in this now moment with this stuff, because I love it, I also know that the future is going to be these literal centres around the world, which is the whole purpose of why we're doing these events. Something Kevin just said, Wendy, I actually want to come to you on a point, and Rick, this might apply to you as well. So Wendy, I know that you've been to people like Joe Dispenza and places like that before. How does Soul School compare to those things? I mean, obviously, there's a lot.
Totally different, Luce. I mean, the room's protected.
Very.
Whereas we know what we ended up doing when we were at that big event. We had to bring in our own stuff to sort some stuff out, because in some of these really big spaces that become very commercial and very corporate orientated, even though there's wonderful people working there were things going on that we kept going, I think I need to bring a couple of my guys in and sort that shit out. It's very, your energy, you can trust in that space, so you can actually allow yourself. I actually ended up on one of your meditations. I had an experience just going back. There's a lovely place called Friend's House in London, and I'd gone to watch Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza. It might have been Greg Braden, maybe. I don't know, but they did a meditation which I wasn't expecting. And I remember while I was sat in the chair, I felt like halfway through it was like hitting turbulence. All of a sudden, I boom, like dropped in my chair and was like, "Whoa, what's that?" And my mate did it, who was next to me. When we came out of it, I went, "Did you?" I felt like I was on a turbulent plane, and he went, "Yeah, I had this weird energy drop as well." That isn't a good thing. Then when I got up to walk afterwards, I started walking better, only for about 3 minutes. But my legs felt better. When I was at the last Soul School and I was sat on the chair, and I can't remember what meditation it was, but you did something and I had the same effect. I dropped in the chair, and then when I walked down, it was before, I'm sure it's before lunch, because I then walked down to get lunch and thought, oh, that's weird. And it reminded me of that Bruce Lipton event, because Bruce has got a particular energy about him. He's quite angelic, isn't he? And it was, the energy was it was like a similar to Bruce's type. And I've not told you that. I just don't know why that hadn't come out. But it was something that it had an actual physical shift on my body. And I thought I must tell Lucy that, because whatever that meditation was, I'd like to do it again and again to see it shifted. So for me, it was, it was the feeling in the room is so different, because whatever it is about the space that's created, your energy, your soul actually feels safe in that space, that it can start letting go of things.
Yeah.
Whereas at the Joe Dispenza, I was always on partial high alert. Yeah. So there was always part of me that wasn't quite going in, especially when they were doing the group healings, because I was one of the healees, wasn't I? If you remember. So I was being healed with people. So I had an energetic barrier up before anybody could. They were using heart coherence to heal, but you had like 8 people around you pummeling you with heart coherence, and I was very wary of it, and I had like a shield up while they were. So I wasn't all in, but when I go to your event, the last one especially, I was able to, which for me is very rare, I could just drop off. I didn't have to put any of my shields or cloaks up. I just went, no, that's all right. I'm safe in this space. I'll just come on.
That's beautiful.
And that was why, you know, I ended up having a couple of good shifts.
That's a really beautiful feedback. Thank you, Wendy, because I know that you're like me. You've invested a lot in this over the years and, you know, actually allowing the surrender, and, you know, you're very aware of your traumas and stuff, which is why obviously both of us do what we do for a living, because of that level of consciousness we've got around that. So it's really interesting. I actually just want to remind people as well that we do hands-on healing, and we do help you shift at Soul School, and that is an actual thing. At Soul School 4, every single person has to have my hands on them at one point. It has to, because of the upgrades and the activations that I've got. This will happen to my team by default of being around me. This will happen to absolutely everybody, whether they are, you know, everybody will get them. Even the people, the AV man who, you know, comes along to support. You know, he had a massive shift last time. He didn't have a freaking clue what was going on. But this time he is coming. It's the same one again, Rick, right?
Well, interestingly, it was going to be the same one. He'd asked specifically to come again, but he's having to have a back operation. So we're getting a new guy. So yeah.
Interesting. I need to send him some healing then. But this is the point, right? So people are coming in as they need to come in, you know, because they need to get the shifts and then go out and create those shifts in the world. But every single person at Soul School 4 will have my hands on them at one point or another, because it has to happen for me to give the codes and the activations, which I've obviously got as I've traveled the world. So the space is very safe. If any one of my team have stuff going on, and my team will vouch for this, I have said to people before, you can't be involved in this, because they've had stuff going on, and I cannot have that being like put into clients. We can't have that. I'm meticulous about the way that I have the energy. I do not stand for it at all. And this is why me and my team respect each other as much as we do, because we can have these open, honest conversations. And that's why these events go so well, because we have a beautiful amount of people in the room that we can support, that we can love, that we can help take through the most incredible of shifts. You know, we've had people arrive on crutches and leave walking. They've never used their crutches again since. There was a lady, and I must put some of this through my social media. There's a lady who said she arrived in chronic pain, and she's been in chronic pain since her son died. Literally, she went through Soul School. I've got goosebumps all over me. She went through Soul School. She left. She's never been in pain since. Soul School 3 was 5 months ago now.
Yeah.
5 months. So it's not like, oh, it's just a week. 5 months she's had no pain, and she was in chronic agony before then. Like, this is what can happen. Now, I'm not saying they're healing events, because they're not. I activate the soul. I remind the soul what it got incarnated to do. I remind the soul as to what purpose it can bring to the planet. There's nothing about healing, but by default, some people heal. By default, some people get connected to their purpose. By default, some people, one lady came to Soul School 2. She had left her husband. She's now happier than she's ever been, because she came, she got the shift she needed. She realized she was the problem, went home, sorted it all, and they've been happy for a year and a month. Happier than ever, in her own words. Like, that is what happens with these events. I can't say to you, you're going to come and get your soul activation. Like, yeah, you will, but I don't know what else you're going to get when you come.
Yeah. Okay, can I just add something based a bit on what Kev and Wendy were saying, and particularly about Soul School 3 and what you were just saying? There was a moment at Soul School 3, and it's visible. I mean, you can see, I know the footage is available for people to buy, so people can experience Soul School 3, and you see that there's this moment where one of the ladies, it was like Kev was talking about the ripple in the pond, but there was this moment very early on where this woman let go, and you could hear it. You hear her just start to kind of just release, and it sent like a Mexican wave through the whole room. Once she had kind of let go, it almost gave everyone in the room permission to do the same and to just completely release. And then the energy spread right through the room. Yeah, like it was like a Mexican wave of energy, just that release. And the thing that I think with what Wendy was saying about the safety in the room is, if you have to you feel safe, but then you have to let go, you have to go all in to get what you would say is not a healing event, but the healing comes because people commit and just feel safe enough to just let go. And every single Soul School, it's got more intense in a good way, the way that people just release and let go. And I think also, in line with what we were saying earlier, is there's been more men from Soul School 1 to Soul School 2 to Soul School 3. Every time there's been more and more. Yeah.
And I love the fact that you've acknowledged that, actually, Rick, because a lot of people, you know, they hear Self-Love Club with Lucy Davis, oh, it's for girls. They hear Soul School and they're like, oh, it sounds a bit girly. No, this is for men and women. You know, and let's be real, we have children coming, right? I think we've got maybe 5 or 6 kids coming for the whole weekend this time, which I was blown away by. I was like, no kids are coming. But then when Morwenna asked the question, there's like a handful of children that are coming, which is phenomenal. You know, one of the little lads was watching my video. I don't know if I did it live yesterday or today or whenever it was, but one of the lads was watching it with his mum, and he's like, hey, we're going to come to Soul School in Australia. Because he's like invested in this now. He came to the last one. He wanted to come to this one. He's invested in this now. Imagine, and he's a 15-year-old boy. Imagine that generation getting this memo, which we've all had to work around the freaking clock to get our stuff together and get back in alignment and figure out that all of that was distraction and an illusion and all the rest of it, so that we can actually get truly back on our path. Freaking amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the opportunities that we've got. Go on, Wend.
It is. It's just time for the shift now, isn't it? I think everybody, and I don't like ever using globalization words, but I think everybody is now ready for something different. I think everybody's got to that point where they're laying on the floor and they now are ready to experience the true power of self-love and connection to everything. And that's, I think it's coming at the perfect time for the global now to bring everybody. It's what we need, isn't it? You have to get to that point of despair and hopelessness and everything goes down before you go, right, what's the only other option?
Okay.
Now let's all reconnect and rebuild and go where we want to go. And that comes from this, from being taught the energy, you know, connecting back to your soul family, just everything you're doing, realigning the earth. Everybody go out and spend time, walk in the woods, touching the trees, talking to the plants. I mean, the recent bit of research that I've just watched around the sentient nature of plants is fascinating. If you stand next to a plant, it can tell what colour you're wearing.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's just like the language you're using is. They've scientific. We don't need science because we know, but they've scientifically proven it. They'll pick up on colours and different people. If certain people go near trees, they behave in one way, and other people go near trees, you know, we're all part of this, and this is the connection that we now need to go where we want to go. So
and what I love about that, Wendy, is, you know, there's when one tree is dying, the trees all around it send their nutrients to the tree to keep it alive. Like, that's the point where we've got to now. We're pouring into each other's cup to say, hey, keep going, because we got this, we're so close. And I think that is the place where we are now with humanity. And, you know, like, we are the most unlikely group, right? First and foremost, I live in a completely different country to you guys now. You know, Rick and Kev live in Manchester. So yeah, they could have crossed paths at some point, but who knows? But how on earth have we been brought together to create this? Like, this is divinity. We have, in my opinion, in this group, we have one of the most powerful speakers that I know in Wendy. We have one of the most powerful creators that I know in Rick. Like, honestly, and I will say it's Soul School, who I believe Rick is. And we have Kevin, who, in my opinion, is one of the most powerful healers on the planet. Like, genuinely, he is one of the most powerful healers that I have ever had the privilege of working with. He's the only person I let near my energy these days, for a reason, because he is incredibly powerful. And that doesn't even go to the knowledge that that man has got. Now imagine how many other people are walking the earth with the ascended masters working through them and working alongside them, or the angelic realm or the interdimensional realm. And that's what we're doing. We're bringing us all back together. None of us is better than each other. Like, I'm just the person that pulls all this shit together. Let's be real about it. I find incredible people around the world and I'm like, right, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. We can all do this together. And that's what I'm good at. I'm good at building these communities, but I can't do it on my own. And just because I'm the person that pulls it together doesn't mean I'm better than anybody else. And this is the memo that we need to be getting out to absolutely everybody. You've got a divine purpose. You are a divine piece of this puzzle. Let's come back together. Let's remember what that is, and let's go create the world that we are looking for. Because for me, Soul School, and Kev, Rick, you've both got children who are in the schooling system. Imagine your kids going through Soul School. How would that feel to you, Kev? Like your boys going through that?
Yeah, it'll be amazing. I've said it to you before. The self-love and the soul skills, it's the foundations of what the new world, the new society is going to be built on.
Yeah.
And it's the next generation who are coming through, the kids, who are going to take it further from us. And it's about putting the foundations in. We're putting the foundations in for what their lives are going to be built on. And doing that is how the new world and the new energies will move forward.
Exactly. Now, your children are very lucky because they've got you as their dad and they've got Emma as their mum. So psychic medium. So she obviously allows them to bring their gifts through. And then Kevin obviously allows them to bring his knowledge and his healing and all that. So your children are amazing examples of star seeds that are incarnated, that seriously know what they're here to do. Like Kev's eldest son, like I've been away in, I think it was Portugal or somewhere like that, and I'm on the phone to him and he's giving me all these messages, literally telling me where I am. Like, and I'm like, wow, I'm going to send you a photo of this because you've literally just described exactly where I am. And he's in Manchester at the time that this is happening. Like, these children, they know what they've incarnated to do. Some of them are lucky they've been placed in families whereby their parents get it, but there are many that have been placed where their parents don't get it. They're there to wake their parents up, which is, again, a beautiful gift. But let's just imagine for one moment, and I'll come to you in a sec, Rick, if that's okay. Let's just imagine for 1 second if, or when, we've got these safe spaces for consciousness, i.e. Soul School, all around the world. Imagine how beautiful it's going to be that our children, that the adults, the parents, the grandparents can all go to this space and actually evolve as a unit. Because that's the mission, right? That's the only reason we're doing this stuff, is to create these safe spaces. You know, like I say, Kevin and his family unit, they're lucky they've got that space together. But now just imagine every family that doesn't have that safe space together. You know, Rick, obviously Kev's got 2 boys and you've got 2 girls, which is quite interesting, isn't it? So how do you, I mean, your girls are incredible as well. They're beautiful, they're kind, they're loving, they're generous, all of those beautiful things. But how do you feel Soul School would impact the children going forwards, or even the parents going through it impacting the children?
I mean, I think it's essential. This ultimately, we're at that place where my kids know how I feel about the education system, but homeschooling isn't a feasible option at the same time right now. And they love the social aspects, the meeting other kids and that, the integration and that stuff, which is brilliant. But me and Sue have to do a lot of unlearning with the kids. Like, we send them to the school and then we have to kind of like undo some of that work a little bit, because to kind of give them both sides of the spectrum so that they get an understanding of, yeah, okay, this is how the education system works right now, but there's other stuff. And I mean, the kids, the interesting thing is the kids teach me as much as I teach them in that way. It's not, I'm not in that old school parent mentality where it's like, we're the parents, you're the kids. Like, my kids are probably my greatest teachers. And even when I think maybe I'm helping that guide them, I'm getting more. That's how it works. And I think that's the beautiful thing that Soul School would be. Is it's not just like the kids are over here and the parents here. It's this integration, this sense of like treating kids like adults, and adults being remembered to have fun. And the other side of the spectrum is that balance of the two. So I think it's vital, and I can't wait for that time when it's there. Well, we're creating it now, but as it manifests more solidly, more physically, yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? You know, of all the missions that I've been given, this Soul School mission is my favorite by far. You know, I've realigned energies. You know, we'll talk about it next weekend, Kev, won't we? But I've realigned energies. I've created shifts. I've created freaking mayhem around this world as I've done some of this work over the last 10, 12 years. But my favorite piece of this puzzle has been the moment that they gave me when I was in Brazil, away from absolutely everybody, the moment they gave me the business plan for Soul School. And I just thought, how the heck am I going to do this? But we're doing it. We're doing it. We're creating it. And this mission literally fires me to get out of bed every single morning without fail. And I'm just so grateful to be doing it with you guys. Like, there is no people that I'd rather be doing it. You know, yes, there's other people involved. Kev's wife's involved. Lots of other people are involved. And I'm grateful to all of them. But to have you guys support and working with me so closely on this, I just want to say a huge, huge, huge thank you. I'm so grateful to each and every one of you. And I can't freaking wait to hug you all next weekend.
It's a pleasure to be able to be involved in something that does a good consciousness shift. It's that working in the education system for so long and see so many lost children now.
Yeah.
And it's that, you know, I know that we can create change that, you know, they don't even have to be there. If we create the energetic shift, like the pond, like you say, the ripple dropping the stone in, it's just if we spread that energy every day when we come back, every day to everyone we meet, that will just bleed in gently to all those spaces, and we're just creating.
And us dismantling these labels, you know, because that's a big thing that holds children back and adults back. It's these labels that we've all been plastered with. And, you know, it's almost like a badge of honor these days, isn't it? Oh, yeah, I've got mental health issues. It's like, oh, come on. Like, come on, let's just create a world whereby we don't need to stress ourselves out because it doesn't feel quite right. How about we bring the balance? How about we bring the love? How about we bring the peace and harmony? So nobody needs to have this XYZ label and all the rest of it. So I'm so excited for next weekend, guys. So excited. We are going to bring it. We are going to create a massive ripple. Kevin is going to share exactly why we're doing it in the location and exactly why we're doing it on those dates, which is wild because, again, I remember a flippant comment coming out of my mouth when we were away somewhere and I just went, blah, 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 and you said, you do realise you've got to do it on this date. And I'd completely forgotten. And this is why I love Kevin, because he remembers everything that I say, thank God, because I just don't. A bit like what you were saying earlier, Wen. I open my mouth, I'm a conduit. I don't have a clue what comes out. Thank God I've got people around me that do remember, because otherwise we'd probably be doing this on, you know, the 6th of June or something like that. Do you get what I mean? Rather than this very, very, very important date. So any parting words for people before we go, guys?
Just go all in. That's it. It's
exactly.
safe. Go all in. That's it.
That's what I would say. Exactly.
Yeah. Everyone just needs to let go. As soon as walking in that room, if you let go of everything, the shifts you'll create, it'll be remarkable.
I'm letting go on already. Look, can you see my eyes are nearly watering?
I know, I'm getting a bit emotional over here as well. I'm like, and actually what Kevin's just said, if you are somebody who's coming on your own, please know you're not going to be on your own for long. Get in the Facebook group. We've got a private group on for Soul School on Facebook for people that are coming to the events. There are people meeting up for dinner on Friday night. There are people that will come with you. There are people that are looking for taxi share buddies and things like that. Please get involved. You are not on your own. As soon as you get there, let me tell you straight, you will never feel it alone again in your life. You have your family around you. This is about you. This is a weekend where you are going to hear me say many times, as these guys have, you've got to go all in. Trust that we have got your back. And ladies and gents, if you're like, shit, I need to be there, hop over. I think the tickets are only going to be on sale for a few more hours. So hop over, get your tickets, and we will see you next weekend. Beautiful Wendy and gents, thank you so much for your time this morning. I really, really, really appreciate it. I can't wait to create some ripples of change around the world with you guys next week. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to everyone for watching and listening. Ciao, ciao for now.